I'm going to be honest with you. They had me. I really believed it. Were Tottenham Hotspur really going to be back? The answer is yes, we are back. Back to the absolute fodder that we've always been. What is going on here? 2 weeks ago, we saw the agreement for Mohamed Kudus. We saw Morgan Gibbs White, here we go. We saw the naming rights rumours. We saw the Middle East investment rumours. Everyone was getting so excited. Were Tottenham Hotspur back? And within 2 weeks, that dream has well and truly already been squashed because Tottenham Hotspur are back to doing Tottenham Hotspur things, and honestly, it's so frustrating. Like, how many times do we have to go through this? Why do we have to suffer so much? Why can't we just operate like a normal club? Where do we even start? Obviously, yes. 2 weeks ago, we saw Mohamed Kudus come through the door. The day later, we saw that Morgan Gibbs White was meant to come through the door. Obviously, Forest had different plans, and then everything just has just been silent ever since. Tottenham Hotspur fly for their pre-season tour on Sunday, and we're gonna have one addition, one extra addition. It's an absolute joke. We're literally killing ourselves. We saw a month ago, maybe just a bit over a month ago. Obviously, the manager that brought us our first European trophy in 41 years was given the boot because we need to compete on all fronts. Thomas Frank was brought in. Obviously, then the owner, Daniel Levy, said that he wants to win the Premier League and the Champions League. We want to win it all. Prove it to us then, because your actions aren't speaking the same as the words. And yes, obviously, I'll give him the props because Mohamed Kudus did look good, but that's all we've done. Morgan Gibbs White, of course, we've got to wait for the Forest thing, but we still have a gaping hole in our midfield that Ange Postecoglou wanted to fix, didn't get to fix. Still got the gaping hole last season, and we're still not addressing it this year. It's just I don't really, honestly, I don't know what's going on. Like, why do we keep on doing these things? You know, and they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and getting the same results. It's literally what we're doing, and we've always been doing it. We wait till the end of the season to see if we can get the best deal, but it just kills us because the players aren't going to come in. They're not going to get a full pre-season. Obviously, not really going to understand how the manager wants to play until further into the season when it really gets tough. So it's like, it's just, honestly, I don't even know. Yes, I've seen some people promote the narrative that Tottenham Hotspur's marquee signing last summer was Dom Solanke, and he was only brought in a week before the season. And you just look at it and think, what? Like, it doesn't mean it was a good thing. We saw Dom Solanke came in, was half fit, played the game against Leicester. With all due respect, was absolutely awful. Obviously, probably due to him being half fit. Then missed a couple weeks through injury, and then didn't really get to the pace of the Ange Postecoglou system. Yes, he put in some good performances, but didn't score anywhere near the goals that we sort of expected him to come in and score. And I think a big part of that is the fact that he didn't get the pre-season with Ange, didn't get to build the relationships with the players, obviously on pre-season tour when they go and do that. And so we're just starting off on the back foot. And once again, I know what we're going to go and do. We're just going to go and do the same thing again. And as I say, we got on our pre-season tour on Sunday. I guarantee you we're not going to bring in a player before then. We've seen the reports today that Morgan Gibbs White is now with Nottingham Forest in Portugal, so he's obviously not going to come on the pre-season tour or sign for Spurs before then. I don't know the last time we signed a player and they came out and joined us on tour. If anyone wants to let me know in the comments if there is a player. I remember obviously Jed Spence, we signed him whilst we were on tour, but that was towards the back end of the tour anyway, so obviously he joined up with the squad when they got back to London. So it's just, are we basically saying that we're now not signing anyone until we come back from the tour? And after we come back from the tour, we have what, like a week before we play the Super Cup. So you're telling me the team that finished 17th in the Premier League, and let me add the caveat that 17th in the Premier League last season, because the three teams at the bottom were absolute fodder. 17th was basically bottom anyway. So the team that finished bottom of the Premier League have added one player. Yes, I'll admit Mohamed Kudus is a good player, and yes, he does go into our starting lineup, but we've added one player, and what the owner expects us to then go and compete on all fronts, which We our squad literally proved last season that we cannot compete on all fronts, and then we're then gonna go and try and compete for the Champions League, compete in the Premier League, compete in the FA Cup, compete in the Carabao Cup. It makes no sense. What actually goes on in the hierarchy of the club? That does anyone actually use their brains? Because how can yes, of course, I'm gonna admit we're not obviously. I don't even know, to be honest, but I don't think we're gonna finish 17th in the Premier League next season. But what is the ambition? Obviously, yes, we've heard that he wants to compete on all fronts, but we clearly cannot do that by adding one player. Um, Realistically, sixth, seventh, and are the fan base really gonna have that? We just got rid of a manager that brought us our first trophy in 41 years, got us back into the Champions League, um, brought us the best night in my Spurs history. That night in Bilbao, when that final whistle went, I do not think I'll feel anything like that again at any other Tottenham game. Obviously, yes, of course, if we win the Champions League or the Premier League, but we're obviously not going to do that, are we? Um, yeah, so I that's the best night in my Tottenham Hotspur supporting life, and we've brought him in for a manager that's just going to get us sixth or seventh. It's like, come on, Ange probably could have done sixth or seventh anyway, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, what they say and what they do is just two completely different things as well, and it's just we literally just kill ourselves year in, year out, and I don't know why. Like honestly, I really don't know why. Because, as I say, everything off the pitch is spot on. We've seen 50 Cent, Kendrick Lamar. I don't even know who else has been performing there this season. We've seen the boxing, but do you know what I'm saying? We've got everything off the pitch. The training ground. They always talk about how beautiful the facilities are top, but everything apart from the football is flying, and I just don't understand why. Because if the football flies, then we make even more money. And you just look at other teams. Yes, I'm not saying that we're competing. Let me talk about the team that we're competing with first. So Man United, who finished 15th or whatever, that we beat in the Europa League final, have already brought in Brian and Mbeumo and Mateus Cunha, two Premier League proven players that would probably we tried to get Mbuemo anyway, and there was talks about us trying to get Cunha a few seasons ago. So two players that would probably get into our starting lineup. They finished higher than us, and they've already strengthened. So does that put them higher than us? Then we go to the top of the league, the teams that Levy wants to compete with. But let's be honest, we are nowhere near this level. Liverpool, who just won the Premier League, obviously got to the Carabao Cup final. They won the Champions League group stage. Obviously, yes, lost to PSG, but PSG obviously eventually went on to win it. So you can't really shoot them in the foot for that. But the team that just won the Premier League have just added Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Florian Wirtz, Ekatike. And there's talk that they might even still bring Alexander Isak. And as I'm saying, that's the team that's just won the Premier League. Then obviously we talk about the team down the road. Whatever people want to say about the players they're bringing in, they brought in right wing cover that they needed. They brought in a backup goalkeeper, very decent backup goalkeeper as well. Obviously, they brought in a replacement for the unnamed player in their 30s. You know who I'm talking about, but let's not even get into that one too much. And they're bringing in a striker, the gaping hole that everyone said that they needed to do. They're bringing in a striker, so they're doing the business that they need to do, because obviously they know that they need to push to try and win the Premier League and the Champions League. Man City, off the back of the worst season they've ever had under Pep Guardiola since January, have spent like 300 million. I don't even know how many players they brought in, like 8 or something. And I highly doubt they're finished there. They're probably going to bring in some more quality. And Chelsea, obviously, yes, just buy players for buying players' sake. But let's be honest, Chelsea are really building a squad now. So that's 5 teams I've already named to you that have strengthened more than Spurs. So obviously going to have better teams than us. So it's like, where do you expect us to finish next season? Highest, 6th, 7th, and come on, 6th or 7th is that's not what the owner said they wanted. They wanted to win the Premier League. So why are we not doing what the teams that want to win the Premier League are doing? It just makes no sense. I don't know. Am I just being too reactionary? Am I trying to get clicks? Am I trying to get comments? No. Like, I'm being realistic now. Like, if anyone comes here, a couple people have said, "Oh, relax, the business is gonna get done." But why are we not doing the business now? Because, as I said at the start of the video, not doing the business now only affects us. Like, it does not affect anyone else. It only affects us. Yes, we might save 2 to 5 million on these players, but what is that in the bigger scheme of things in Premier League football? 2 to 5 million is absolutely nothing. And going into the Champions League next season, like, come on, we don't really have a chance. And as I say, yes, we're going on our preseason tour on Sunday. Obviously not going to sign a player. Then we go away for what, 2 weeks, and then I think we've got a week before the Super Cup. So what if we get a new player within that week? You're telling me they're going to hit the ground running and then go straight into the Super Cup? Like, it's just a joke. And one man I've actually got to feel sorry for is Thomas Frank, because as much as I like Thomas Frank, and I think, yes, he's going to be a decent fit for the club, but I think, like, we're already seeing a big reason why been brought into the club is because he's obviously not going to complain like Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho did, Pochettino towards the back end of his tenure. He's not going to complain about not getting a backing, because obviously he's come from a club that have not signed him. They've not spent big money. Look, I don't even know what their record transfer was, but it's probably like 30 million. So he's obviously not going to complain about not being backed. He's obviously going to, if we don't sign another player in the transfer window, he's still going to try and get the most out of his squad without complaining. So it just shows that he's been brought in as a man to maximize the squad. But this is what I'm saying. Like, the maximum we can get out of this squad is probably sixth or seventh, and I don't know how much of the fan base are really going to settle for it. Bearing in mind we've just sacked a manager that brought us our first European trophy in 41 years, our first trophy in 17 years. After, by the way, telling everyone at the start of the season that I'm going to win a trophy this year, and got absolutely ridiculed for it. So, I don't know, you just got to feel sorry for Thomas Frank, because let's be honest, if he gets off to an awful start, if we lose to PSG in the Super Cup, which, let's be honest, probably going to happen because it's PSG, then we lose, let's say, 5 of our first 10 Premier League games, he's going to be under so much pressure. And yeah, he's just going to be on the back foot. And there's going to be another Nuno. He's going to be gone by, what, October, November time. It's just, honestly, it's just not great. And you just got to blame the board, because the board always do this anyway. But honestly, I really don't know. I really don't know. I want some of you guys to let me know as well what's going on, because, like, am I panicking? Do we need to wait and see? Do we always need to get the best deal? Do we need to protect the interests of the club? What do you think about this Morgan Gibbs White thing as well? Like, would you leave the deal? Because there's no way we can just be sitting around waiting for this Morgan Gibbs White deal before we do anything else, because surely that's absolute crazy. Because what about if we get to the end of the window and we can't get him? Or, for example, another top team comes in that is pushing for the Premier League. Then he goes there. Then what? We've just wasted all this time on a player that we can't even sign. So I really don't know. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think as well. Because honestly, I'm pulling my hair out, man. I ain't got much hair. Well, I've got hair, but you know what I mean. I ain't got locks. But I'm just pulling my hair out of this situation, because I really don't know what we're doing. We're just killing ourselves time and time again. And it's just never gonna change, is it? Let me know what you think. Please smash like, subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll be back with plenty more Spurs content. Peace and love.